From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John.
Hi, LR. Cajun Rob here hanging out with you. I get you every time with that. I know. That's why I do it.
I know. You'd think I'd be used to it. It's only been over a year.
I know.
But tonight we have NPFL pro Hunter Baughman on talking about the mental aspects of fishing. You hear a lot about time, fishing is mostly mental. And if you look at some people's fishing pages, they're going to say it's mostly forward-facing sonar. But no, you have to have the mental capacity and the strength and wisdom to know when to do what. Because I'll tell you, I watched the forward-facing sonar for a little bit, and I was getting frustrated. Why isn't this fish biting? Why isn't this fish biting? But no, it happens. But let's get Hunter on here, and maybe he can help us out with that stuff.
Definitely.
Hello,
Hunter.
Hunter.
How are y'all?
Good, brother. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Hey, I'm with you. They never bite when you can see them on that graph, do they?
Oh, I know.
No. I'm telling you, a buddy of mine, he was, because I'm a co-angler, so I don't get to see the forward-facing much. And so
right.
I was out practicing with him, and he's like, look at this. I'm like, we'll get him. He's like, that's not always easy.
No.
Yeah, what's the problem? There he is.
Yeah, He's right there. It's like catching a pig in a pig pen. He's right there. You can see him, but try to catch him.
Yep.
That's right.
Different story. You're trying to get that little dot to bite something or chase something. Definitely.
Oh, man. It can be so fun. It can be so frustrating.
Yep.
Yes. So if you don't mind, let everybody know who you are and if.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Hunter Baughman, Judsonia, Arkansas, which is Searcy, Arkansas, for pretty much everybody that doesn't know where Judsonia is. But kind of the edge of north central Arkansas, northeast central Arkansas, about 60 miles northeast of Little Rock. NPFL angler, year number 5 coming up next month of that.
Wow.
Tournament fished. I'm 38. I've tournament fished for over 20 years now, I guess, or right at 20 years anyway. So, yeah, man, just glad to be here.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yes. We got a couple comments we want to get through right quick.
Yep.
Guy Cromp, Hunter, you're a great inspiration, buddy.
Thank you.
And
then
Ed
the legend
Cohen?
himself.
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. Ed Cohen, he's fished a couple BASS championships. I can't remember what they're called right away, but
yeah, he plays a Wrangler National. I think back in the early 2000s. I know because they come to Knoxville and he fished it. I was helping out with it, but Yep. Ed's been around a long time, man. He's a legend for sure.
He fished against a bunch of good anglers, and he made a post the other day, and I'm like, man, there's a couple good anglers on there. Brian Kershaw and Ed and a couple other guys, and he's like, you don't realize it, but this guy, 4-time All-American or something like that. I'm like, holy cow,
Oh
yeah. Back then there wasn't the social media.
No.
So
yeah, right.
All right. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Different times.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you don't mind, let's get talking about the mental aspects of fishing, because that's what we're trying to clue in on tonight.
Sure.
Do you want me to start out asking questions, or do you just want to take it away?
Hey, however you want to do it, you tell me.
All right.
So I know a lot of people have issues knowing when to run, when to move, when to stay. And, like myself, sometimes being a co-angler, I'll be on the back deck like, okay, we've been here 45 minutes. Neither of us got a bite. Why are we still here?
Yep.
You know,
Right.
That gets me mentally.
Yeah.
Quickly, you know, and especially when you feel like you've made 5 right decisions and they've all been wrong, you know, then it's like, well, what's the point moving again? I don't know what the next move would be anyway, type deal. But there's always, I had a buddy several years ago, we were on a little lake here by the house fishing the evening tournament, and it's not real big. It's just cypress trees, and they all look the same. You know, it's just oxbow. Like there's just trees down both banks. And, man, I was just kind of over it. We had like 30 or 40 minutes left, and we had like one fish.
Oh,
it's just like, he goes, well, what are we going to do? And I said, well, man, I don't know. It all looks the same. I guess we're going to flip how many trees we can flip in the next 45 minutes. He said, we need to move. They're biting somewhere. And I didn't think a lot, you know, okay. We picked up. I said, where you want to go? He was like, how about right there? And we shut down. And I don't remember. I don't think we won the tournament. We ended up catching Limit and Cullen several times. Like, he was right. Like, they were eating somewhere. It's just a matter of, man, you can't give up, because if they're always eating somewhere. It's just so hard to keep doing that it's so easy to zone out. And I see guys do that.
Yeah.
Like they'll just put their trolling motor down and they'll take off and whatever's in front of them, what they fish, till they run out of time after they feel like they're just defeated. But they're always eating somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know, me being in New York, a lot of the places that like St. Lawrence River, most of the guys run, and it cuts your fishing time down a lot.
Right.
How do you decide? I mean, yeah, the fish are biting and stuff like that, but how do you decide when to move or stay in one spot?
You know, you have to beat the complacency. You have to beat well, I'm gonna fish to this stump, and then of course, you know, it's all different if you're offshore, but I'm just talking like you're going down the bank. I'm gonna fish to this stump, and then I'm gonna go, and you get to that stump, and you're like, that lay down 75 yards up there looks good, and you get to it, and it's like, man, that corner grass another 100 yards look. Yeah, I've done that so many times. It's like, you can't do that. You need to know. I mean, you need to be aware, and sometimes you make the wrong decision, you know. But you need to make a decision. I guess the best way about it, whether it's right or wrong, you need to make a decision, because read it. I mean, is it dead? Is there any bait fish flicking? Is it nothing? Like, if it's dead, you need to get somewhere else, you know. If you hadn't had a bite, like if you went and practiced and you caught 20 pounds flipping laydowns, and you flipped 427 laydowns in the last 5 hours, and you've not got a limit yet, real good chances are you're not going to catch them if you flip 10 more laydowns before the weigh-in, you know. So you have to be aware enough to check out and go never be scared to try something new, because you never know, you know, when that new would be the right thing. And you see it a lot in the guys that fish the multi-day stuff, because you know, especially if we have a decent day or something, and then I've got an hour left, and I've had a pretty good day, and I stop and just start doing different stuff, and you'll see, you can watch any of the multi-day weigh-ins, and somebody will say on stage, man, I had an all right day, but I figured it out at the end of the day. I can't wait till tomorrow. But how many times have you heard that? They probably didn't figure it out doing what they were doing all day. They did something different at the end of the day that they can lean on, you know, for the next time.
It's like they're pre-fishing day one of the tournament.
Yes, it for sure. It was really hard, and I'm not great at any of it, I'm sure, but it was really hard going into the multi-day stuff, because I hadn't done a lot of it. I've done some Toyotas, made some cuts on day 3, but other than that, I hadn't fished any 3-day stuff, you know, until I started the MPFL, and it was hard to adjust to be able to fish the multi-day stuff. But now that I do it, like day 1 is so much of a practice day, because a lot of times we have an off day leading up to it, and so much changes. You don't want to be dialed. You just want to have an idea. So day 1 is so much of a practice day. Now it's hard to come back home and practice and fish a 1-day tournament, because at noon you're like, man, like this is it. I don't get tomorrow. Like, I need to, you know, it needs to click today. So it's odd how much there's mentally different in between the two. Because on one day you got to kind of make those decisions quick. And I grew up fishing 3-hour tournaments on the Arkansas River. I still do it every other week all summer. And I mean, 3 hours isn't long. A lot of times we'll run 20 spots in 3 hours, and it's like you're not so much waiting for the fish to bite as going to find the ones that are already biting.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like doing a milk run. You're doing a milk run is hitting the hot spots. I get you.
Yeah, and it's so much easier if your milk run starts good. You say you're hour and a half in, you've already, just pick a number. If it takes 12 pounds, what do you think is 12 is close to winning? And you get to 11, an hour and a half in, you still got half the tournament. Man, it's easy. Then the milk run turns into stuff you may not fish in 6 months or 2 years or 4 years. And you're rolling down the lake and you're like, man, that feels right. I think I'm going to stop there. It's a lot harder when you don't have any fish. It's a lot harder to go, well, I'm going to go somewhere I'm not comfortable with and try to make them bite there. And I will say, I was watching the BPT this week, and Wheeler said something that really stuck with me because I remember a Toyota in particular on Kentucky Lake that I went to Barkley. I went into a creek. I don't even know the name of it, way up Barkley. And there was water running. There was a little bit dingy. This was like an early March. I mean, it was a terrible tournament. And I never had a bite in there, but I remember telling the dude I was rooming with, I was like, that's the best looking water I found all week. And I never went back because I never had a bite. And I mean, this was like such a bad tournament that I zeroed the first day and I caught 2 for 10.5 second day. And I finished like 55th out of 100 and something. I mean, it was a terrible tournament, but come to find out, like the exact 100-yard circle that I thought was so good looking is where the tournament was won at. Even though I didn't get a bite there in practice. I mean, he wasn't getting me like 5 bites a day. But I'm bad about mentally. It's like, well, I didn't get a bite there. There's no point in going back. But getting back to what I was saying, Wheeler, he made a comment. He caught a good one on one. I don't even know what day it was, but he caught a good one. And he said, man, I knew it. I practiced this place twice and never had a bite. I knew they'd be here. And I mean, the dude's done practice it twice and didn't have a bite. I'd have never went back. And he went back during the tournament. He caught like a 4-pounder, and that opened my eyes to, man, even though it looks really good and I didn't get a bite, a lot of times you should give it 20 minutes, and just see.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times it's timing. Like it might not bite in the morning, afternoon, it'd be on fire. I've seen that happen.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That was
all right. We got to.
Yeah. I've had a lot of tournaments where it's like a 2-hour period. You better catch them in those 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me see where we are. Ed Cohen says he's been following you since the NPFL started. And he says you're a hammer.
Get lucky every once in a while.
Yeah. And that's come from a legend. I consider that a high compliment.
Yeah. Jeremy May says, hello, gents. I admire you, Hunter. I follow along with you across the board.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Jeremy also says he makes the wrong decision often, but quickly adapt. Experience will teach you this.
Absolutely.
Man, 20 minutes is all you need. Usually if something different is going to work, if 20 or 30 minutes, it'll either work or you need to move on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And he says he wins pre-fishing every time. I can vouch for him. He won pre-fishing on Oneida Lake. We will talk about the tournament.
Oh man,
a good milk run is all about timing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. So, how do you keep your head and composure and your mental capacity when you're not getting bit?
Gosh, it's hard. I mean, it really is. I'm hard-headed anyway. Like I've always, just like if something didn't work, I just made it work. That's how I've grown up. Yeah. But it's still so hard. Like you can mentally see and feel the difference. Like you kind of get in that zoned out, and then you catch one or you get a bite, and it's like you kind of, it slaps you, and you come back into reality. And I don't know. Well, maybe some people can. I don't know that I can focus as fully as you should be able to for 8 hours. Like you pick up a top water and the first 10 throws you make with it, every twitch, you see that fish, you imagine that fish blowing up on it, I don't know if I can do that for 8 hours. I'm still paying attention, but we get so used to it, and it's like going through the motions. It's hard sometimes. It takes a bite to kind of knock you back out to reality.
Yeah, or you're on your phone and you leave your jig there and you pick it up and the fish is on there and it's like, hey, did stick. I mean, sometimes that happens. I've had that happen a couple of times.
That's right. That's exactly. I had a guy tell me the other day that he was flipping a bunch of wood and couldn't get bit. He wound it out real quick and it bit it, winding it out. He's like, all right.
Yep.
So you want it swam. I get it.
Yep.
But no, man, you got to be confident in yourself, which is hard to do. And I'm the worst one to lose confidence as the day goes. It's tough at noon, if you don't have a bite, you're like, oh gosh, what do I do? But I got a good buddy of mine. I fish against him a lot here, and I fish with him some. And he's always talking about it'd be time to panic and run. He'll be the first to tell you if he doesn't get a bite in the first hour, he'll drive 45 minutes to make 10 throws, turn around, drive back where he was, start over again, just panic, just run all over the lake.
Wow.
And we fished together one day, and I knew it was a river tournament, and I knew we'd get 5 or 6 bites. I knew there wouldn't be many bites, but it was somewhere a lot of time, and I felt like I was confident in what I was doing. And he told me afterwards, he said, Hunter, I'd have been so done, I'd run plumb out of gas before noon. And he said, you just plucked along, waiting on the next bite. But sometimes it takes not spinning out,
Oh, yeah. And how many times you're fishing a cove or cut, and on the main lake, there's boats just going, roll, 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 roll. It's like, wow, you guys, you're all spun out. It's like the first hour or two of the tournament. It's like, wow.
I was fishing Oh, go ahead, Hunter. I'm sorry.
That it's like the glass half full type deal. If I'm getting any bites and they're running like that, I know that they're struggling. I need to put the pedal down because right now nobody's catching them. They're struggling. That's time to beat them,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We got a couple more comments for you, Hunter.
All right.
Jacob Wheeler, practice for what's coming. One of the methods that he's trying to learn. Yeah, Kevin Van Dam spoke a lot about that. And it's awful hard, especially if you like with you, you're off limits and stuff like that. You can't go a couple days in advance and be like, okay, this is good. This is good. You're what, 30 days, 60 days out?
I'd say 27. Yeah. And then we get 3 days of practice, but it is, you catch yourself looking at the time. I actually went and pre-practice a little bit last week, and it was like what we were doing. There was a 100% chance we weren't going to get a bite, but we'll be back there in March at Santee Cooper. I mean, and they're going to be dirt shallow, and it's hard, but you're practicing for something that's 5 weeks ahead of time when I was there, because you just know, if you're in a pond in 3 foot of water and the water is 42 degrees like it was, you're probably not going to get a bite. But when you come back, that stuff will be important. But yeah, practicing for what's coming is definitely the way to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Stephanie Hempel Pellerin says the legend Hunter B. Congrats on the new cat. Ready to race their Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. We don't have enough hours. It needs more hours on it first, Stephanie. Then I'll be ready.
There you go.
There you go. Jeremy says he loves me too. That must be about the comment about practicing. And he wants to know, what is your best bed fishing bait, and does color make a difference?
I think color makes a difference to me, so I can see it. It's probably more natural. Might get a few more bites. I think it does get a few more bites. But I like a white tube or a white crawl, something I can see. Because if you're not fully, it'd be about like live scope. If you can't see it when you're doing it, you're wasting your time. You need to be able to see it, So I like something white so I can see. At times, if it's like, y'all remember I'm short. I'm not 3 foot tall. So somebody a little taller has a little better eyesight. But, if it's like super duper shallow, I usually have a green pumpkin jig tied on and I'll flip it. But if I can't see that, I have to go something white.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's fun when you get it in their bed and you see them like swim away and all of a sudden they go whoop and look at it. And then they start swimming away and you shake it and they go whoop. About third or fourth time they do it, they just choke it.
Man, if we're practicing for a tournament and it's a bed fishing deal, like I need to take all my rods out. I can't do it. I'm ready to stop and make every one of them try to bite. I can't hardly just troll down the bank. I love it, man. That's so much fun. And it's rare that you hit a tournament where it's like that all week, but it's fun when it's right.
All right. Another tough question for you. How do you bounce back on a tough, on a, like say day one, like you did, you zeroed that one tournament, and then day two, you caught fish. How did you mentally prepare yourself for day two? Was it just something where I'm like, well, I paid my entry fee, I got to go fish, so I might as well go do something? Or
like that before. No, it's you go practice, go do something different. Like that in particular, I stayed on Kentucky Lake, and then on day two, which I only had 2 bites on day two, but they were like a 5.5 and a 5. But I went to Barkley and threw spinnerbait, which is ironically what the winter was doing. I just never went back to that creek. But and that was odd. Like, man, the lake was tough then. Like I caught those 2 fish in back-to-back throws, and that was the only bites I had in 2 days. But
wow.
We were at Santee 2 years ago, and man, I knew the bites would be far and few between. There was a lot of bedfish, and I went and I shook. I never hooked a fish in practice. I shook everything. The first day of the tournament, I caught 1, and it was 14 inches, and it was the smallest fish weighed into the whole day. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're at the bottom, It's like, golly, what do I do now? So when I'd come out, I went left. So when I came out on day 2, they called my number. I went right. And I ran plumb like 25 miles the opposite way, and I caught 11 pounds doing completely different fishing. Actually, oddly enough, catching fry garters on scope on trees where I could see the balls of fry with the fish. But I did that and I had like 11 pounds, which still wasn't good. So day 3, I'm like, now what do I do? And so I went right again, but I actually drove past this little place and just trying to listen to my gut. I'm like, man, that looks good in there. And I wheeled around and went back like a mile, and into it, I caught 21 pounds on a frog. I mean, it's just but I had not caught. I'd thrown a frog. I don't think I'd had a frog bite all of practice. I shared with the 2 guys on the road, share information, and I knew those guys were catching topwater fish. And I wheeled in there, and it looked right. And like what I told you on the 20-minute, 30-minute deal, immediately I caught a keeper on a frog. First 5 throws. And this was 10 or 11 o'clock. I'd already been doing some other stuff. And then I went 100 yards and I caught a 4-pounder, and then went 50 yards and I caught a 5, and I went 50 more yards and I caught a 5.5, and then another 5, then lost a 5. I mean, it's so easy and obvious when you make the right decision. It's so terrible and tough when you don't, But I think that moving and doing something completely different has a lot to do with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you talking about areas? I was a co-angler. I think it was out in West Kentucky, and a boater went in this little river, and it's one stretch. It was just full of life. It had raccoons and deer, and he said, "This is the place." And I was like, and sure enough, like forecast later, I caught like a 411 on spinnerbait and got big bass on the co-angler side that day. But just that one area, that one little stretch, like 100 yards, it was raccoons and birds. I mean, it's just crazy. The rest of it's kind of just nothing, but it's one area just held that much life, and we caught them good in that one little 100-yard stretch out of like a 3-mile creek. It was amazing,
man. And it just takes reading, because I remember one time here on the river that we ran 20 miles from takeoff to the spot. My partner and I both jumped up on the front with buzz baits, and I had a buddy, which I know everybody down there, but I had a buddy that was within sight of us, when we shut down, and we fished like 10 throws, and something like I'm already looking at it going, it just looked dead for whatever reason. It just looked dead. And but we had just got there. It was first thing in the morning, and I'm like, man, it's just, but I don't say it out loud. And he goes, man, this place is dead. And I said, and I mean, I'm talking like the first 3 minutes, I'm like, yeah, it's dead. And we picked our junk up and left. And my buddy was like, what made y'all leave that quick? I'm like, I really don't know, other than we both agreed it looked dead. So we left and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many times have you done it where you're talking to your buddy and you're like, man, we ought to be doing this, and your buddy's like, you're right, but you don't ever do it, And that's your gut trying to tell you what to do.
Doing it a lot and do it a lot as a co-angler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have near as many decisions. You don't get to make those decisions sometimes as a co-angler is the problem.
No, but hey, we just enjoy getting out there for the most part of it.
That's right.
All right. So, what's the toughest mental challenge you faced in fishing, and how did you overcome it?
The toughest, trusting yourself. I think hands down, confidence in yourself, and yeah, I still really struggle with that, but to know you're good enough to make the right decision. That's a big problem I have.
Absolutely. And conditions. I know our clone one time said he showed up and then, half the field is like conditions is storming and like half the field mentally took themselves out. So, we should fish today, yada. Because those days, half the fields took themselves out. And that's the days I whack them. And, his track record. So, that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Well, the fish are already wet. They don't care if it rains. It's only us that care if it rains.
Yeah.
Especially when it's 35 degrees and it's pouring out. Oh yeah, that's fun day fishing.
Oh man, it's rough. A bite every once in a while makes it a lot better though.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How do you stay confident when they're not biting?
I don't know. Trust. That's a really hard question because there's times you don't, but you can be not confident and still keep changing. All it takes is one bite to be confident again.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's more confident within your abilities than what the fish are doing.
Yeah, and I know, like here, I keep saying the river. That's where I've grown up fishing, but I know it so well that I don't know if I'm ever not confident there. Not cocky, but I'm pretty positive I'm gonna land on 5 of the right ones before the day's over. I've done it for a long, long time here, and I'm pretty positive when I put the boat in the water, I'm gonna be in contention when we pull it out of the water. And then when you go somewhere else you don't know, it's a lot harder because you don't know if that stump you're throwing at or that grass mat is the right one. I know 100% at home when I drop the trolling motor, I'm on A+ stuff. Every time I drop the trolling motor, I'm on the best stuff on the river. But when you leave, you don't know that, and that's really where you start losing your confidence.
Yeah. Or if you think you're on the best stuff and you come in with 5 pounds and everybody else has 18, 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what's even worse, when they catch all that within sight of you and you can't get bit, that's when it really hurts.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I've mentioned on here.
I've gone both ways on that. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm around them and put your head down and figure it out. And so, there's one tournament in Texas in particular that everybody was catching them. And I picked my junk up and left. And I actually had a good tournament, but I handled it for about an hour. And I said, absolutely, I'm not going to do this all day. And I picked it all up and I ran completely outside somewhere else. And I started the day over because I could not handle it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, that happened to me once. My buddy and I weighed in 19 pounds and we ended up dead last. Which
really?
That took our confidence away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. That's how the first time we went to Patman, the first year of the NPFL, I knew it was going to be good, but I catch a 5. I have almost 15 pounds. I was in 77th place out of 110 guys.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's actually where on day 2, I went back in the same area and they're all jacking them, flipping, and we're just in a line flipping these trees. And I was like, man, I cannot handle this. And I packed up and left and went to another creek and caught 17 and moved up. But it's sometimes if you know it's going to get in your head that bad, sometimes it's best to just go find something else,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that, up here, St. Lawrence River, the last 4 or 5 times the elites come up, you get 20 pounds a day and you don't make the day 3 cut. It's what the heck do I got to do?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You talk about somebody that doesn't have any confidence, we go this year up there for the first time, never been there.
Yeah.
And I see those weights and I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world? I mean, and that up there, I think, is going to be a whole lot different than anything I've ever fished. Like a whole lot different. So, yeah, I'm so excited to go because it's such an awesome place, it looks like. But I'm a little nervous too because there's not going to get a chance to go pre-practice. It's just going to be show up and figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different. That's all I can say.
Right.
All right, Rob, go ahead. I'll let you ask for a couple questions.
Okay. Talking about tough conditions, you'll see, a lot of guys, I've had a lot of boaters, you can tell they're spinning out. And you try to, you try to encourage your partner. I mean, I when I'm on pair with somebody or we don't know, I try to, do it as a team. But if like I'm in the back of the boat and I got a guy that's kind of spinning out, how do you kind of right the ship, in other words? How do you, I tell you, hey man, we're gonna get them, just I try to be confident, and then is there any more tips you gotta help if you got a partner, even a team partner is kind of spinning out and he's is there any tips how to kind of right the ship on that?
Catch a 4-pounder real quick and see how quick the ship gets right.
I've done that.
Man, it's one thing with a team partner because you can talk through stuff and be like, man, we did this or did that. Or let's go try, but I'll be the first to tell you, I don't have much experience at all as a co-angler, but it's tough because I have done it. It's like, and I did it when they couldn't take information and I knew we were on the Arkansas River and, I knew quite a bit about what was going on and I couldn't tell them any of it. And it's really hard because I think it's more of like it pulls you down more because this ain't it, but you can't be like, hey man, you're not doing very good. You should leave. There's no way to tell them that, and I'll be the first to tell you, as somebody that's had a lot of co-anglers, that I've gone to people's stuff that they're like, I know where we can catch something, and we've caught them at times and times we hadn't, but it's, even if you knew what was going on, it's so hard for somebody to tell you, hey man, I know you practice for this, but I've got a spot, because so many times that burns you when somebody does tell you that, and you're like, all right, we'll go to your spot. And then they're like, well, I don't know if it was that point or that, because you never know what you're getting into. So it's hard as a boater for somebody to be able to tell you a whole lot that really gets you back fired up, other than just being positive for them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or trying, something completely different. Man, if that's throw out the other side of the boat with a little swim bait if you're going down the bank or something,
Oh, absolutely. But that's tough sometimes, and you feel for them because you've been there. It's like, they're like burning. They're throwing so fast that I don't think the lure's hitting the water. I mean, it's so fast. It's like slow down.
You gotta start talking a little slower, so maybe it'll slow them down.
Yeah. Well, I had a young guy on Del Hollow one time. Great guy. I mean, he caught him good early, and then he kind of struggled the rest of the day. And he's just trolling down his bank. I threw down a drop shot and was dragging it. And I caught a bunch of little shorts, real quick. And about the 4th, 5th one, he's like, okay, what are you doing back here? And I said, drop shotting. He said, I never done it. Show me. And I showed him like 5 minutes. And he started catching them. And but I could tell, like, after about the 5th short I caught, he's like, okay, what are you doing? So.
Yeah. It doesn't take a whole lot behind you, and you're like, all right, something's got to change.
Yeah. I said, hey, I got weights. Hey, whatever you need, man. And I think I improved his mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You make so many good friends doing that it can be frustrating because the competition, like I'm so competitive, but at the same time, man, have fun with them. I mean, it's just a tournament at the end of the day. It's all it is, but it might be a friendship for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many people take it as life and death.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But I've drawn the same boater a couple times, and this last one is a guy from Nashville, and he's like, oh man, I thought that was an old text. Oh man, I got you today, and he's all hyped up that we was fishing together and we had a good day before, and it made a difference because we come right to like right for the buoys, you know, to weigh in, like the off limits. And he was scoping and caught a 5-pounder. We're like 5 minutes for the weigh in. I was like, man, we was both stoked.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. We got a couple comments over here. Let's get to them real quick.
All right.
Ashley says, hey, y'all. Hey, Ashley.
All right.
Ed Cohen says, John can help you out there. Do not fish for largemouth. He is talking about the St. Lawrence River.
Yep.
Oh, I figured.
Now, I'll give you a sleeper pick for St. Lawrence River for your tournament. Randy Cooper, if he's still fishing them.
He's not fishing with us.
Okay.
Oh,
he's too busy killing monster deer.
Good problem to have.
I fished with him on the St. Lawrence, and he had, I think, 12 pounds, and I had 21.
Phew.
And
wow.
I gave him some information, and he ended up with like 18 pounds, I think, and I had like 24 and a half with dead fish.
Oh,
it was
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, Randy might be a guy, and this was on Randy's spot. So Randy might be a guy to talk to about St. Lawrence.
Yeah, well, we can't now. That's the problem. But yeah, Randy, he's done nothing to kill monster deer for the last 3 years.
Boy.
Nice.
I don't know.
Three
fishing.
I don't know if y'all are deer hunters, but he killed 3 over 200 inches in the last 3 years.
Wow. Shoo.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
That's some monsters.
I see it on Facebook. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dang.
Yeah. Okay. What's one piece of advice that you give an angler who struggles with confidence or the mental aspect of fishing?
More time on the water probably improves it more than anything. You could do a lot, like Swindle goes into the PMA and stuff like that. And there's stuff like that could help if you really wanted to deep dive into some stuff. But short answer would be, man, more time on the water, like especially if it's a tournament at home. Like go spend 3 days down there. You might, I know it's hard with jobs to do that, but the more time you spend, the more confident you are. And it just snowballs. The more times you do well, the more confident you become.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get the snowball started sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I noticed that too. The more I fish, the better I get.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like a feel. It's like a feel or something you get.
Yeah, and that's why I try to fish as much at home. Like I still fish 50 to 60 tournaments a year at home. And and I'm done by October. But I do that to stay in tune. And that's something here that the practice has been kind of new because here, like most of the time I don't practice because like the river, if we're going there, it changes so much.
Yeah.
Practice is pretty much overrated. But if I go fish a BFL, I'll practice for a day for that somewhere. But for the most part, don't practice a lot here. And I hope that it keeps me sharper on when we're somewhere else to make those on-the-fly decisions because a lot of times the on-the-fly decision is the one that wins the tournament.
Absolutely.
And it's won a couple of classics for people too.
Oh yeah. First one that comes to my mind is Gunnerville. God.
Yeah.
Randy from Alabama. Randy.
Yeah, Randy Howell.
Howell, yeah. I kept wanting to say Randy Goodcroft. Randy Howell. Yeah, man. He turned the boat around and went back.
Yeah. And talking about Swindle, he said he fished that same area and like flipped 5 or 6 times and left. Same area.
Yeah.
Randy won it.
All confidence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Swindle was stopping on his way through. Randy done gut decision to go grind it out.
Yep. And then was it Jordan Lee when he's in Texas and won? Remember his motor messed up or something and he fished his point right there? That was unreal.
Yeah, that was, and just jacks him off of it. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, and you see John Cox do that stuff, man. He'll just make like this wild 10 minutes left in the day decision and catch a 5-pounder. Like I've seen that a bunch. Like I remember him fishing one on beaver, one a FLW, or it may have been MLF, but it was a 5 fish on beaver. And like he wheeled in with like 5 minutes left to be the ramp, swam a jig through a pocket. He was like, I got 2 throws. And his first throw, he caught the winning fish.
Wow. That's nerves of steel right there. That's nerves of steel.
Yeah. Well, that's time on the water too.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. And you know, I've heard Clun say, you know, talking about like retying, it's like, well, your knot ought to be just as, because everybody reties at night. You know, like you come off the water, you go back next day, you retie. I'm pretty sure it was Clun that I saw him quoted somewhere say something along the lines of, your knot should have been just as good the last throw of the day as it was the first throw of the day. You know, as in other words, you should have had it tied. And same deal, you know, the fish, that 5-pounder can bite the first throw or the last throw, you know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He said that about line changing too. You know, like some people will respool their lines after every tournament or after every day.
Right.
And he's like, why am I going to throw something in the critical times at the end of the day that isn't going to work? You know?
Yep.
That's right.
What, you know,
That's
why do I need to change my line on day 2, but it was good enough for day 1?
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Since forward-facing sonar, skill and ability has been thrown out there. You don't need this. You don't need that. So how important do you think mental toughness is compared to physical ability in fishing?
Oh, I think there's definitely different tiers of anglers.
Yep.
From your club all the way up to your national guys. I think when you get at a national level, I would think almost all the ability is the same.
Yep.
Like, you know, somebody may have like an Andy Montgomery is going to skip a jig under a dock better than probably anybody else can.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. Like Brower flipped better than and Biffle better than anybody else can. But for the vast majority, the skills are the same. When you start traveling the country, we can all throw a spinning reel as good as we can flip, as good as we can jerk bait. It's all we're pretty well versed at all of it. And even at your local, like your BFL levels, pretty much everybody there's going to be a few guys that like are green, but most of those guys can do all that stuff. I think mental is so much of it. It may not be that you're not mentally tough, but the right decision at the right time. I mean, we could all come up with 10 tournaments that we knew somebody won because they made a right decision somewhere through the day. It may not be as big as Hal spinning around and going back and win the Classic, but everybody made those decisions, you know, at the right times to get a bite to win a tournament.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh. You got anything else, Rob?
Yeah, a lot of good points, man. I know, like I said, and you know, tournament seems like there's always changing conditions. There's fronts, you know, rising water, lower water, and just having the confidence. Hey, I've had this happen before. I'm gonna go do this or look for this. I think it's a lot of it, like experience, like what you said. But yeah, there's so. I mean, like you said, practice. You can practice on Friday. It's sunny and 75. Tournament comes in and it's cold and 45. So.
Oh yeah,
that's
And hey, look here. If you go to your home lake, don't go fish the same milk run every day you go for fun. Like if you want to do that for a tournament, that's fine. But you learn nothing if you fish the same places every time you go to a lake. Like go somewhere new every time. Doesn't have to be a new lake, but go to like if you went to A, B, and C, never look at them again till a tournament because you know those are good or you wouldn't go to them. So there's no point in fishing those till tournament day. Go find something new.
Yeah.
And that's
or like you got community holes and your boat, you know, 150 out of 160, and there one of your spots has got people, you know, 5 boats on it. You're like, okay, what do I do now? You know, you got to have a backup A, B, C, D, and E plan always.
And hey, on the backside of that, if you're one of the first boats, some people really shy away from community holes, but they're community holes for a reason. Like if you're one of the first boats, I don't care how good your practice was. Go hook 2 or 3 out of a community hole, then go to your stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, I fished Toyota Series on Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say about 80% of the field was in this one stretch.
Wow.
We just went around like we're in a carnival ride.
Man, that community holes and release fish they paid me a lot of checks over the years, and it's fun to pond, or people don't want it. Well, them fish are smart, but it's community hole for a reason, especially on the multi-day tournament. Man, go get your low-hanging fruit right off the bat. If you know somebody's going to catch 15 pounds out of community hole, might as well be you. Then you can work on your fish.
Yeah. And it's funny you say release fish. I fished a few events on the Ohio River. Ohio River's tough. And the pattern there is like running boat dock to boat dock where they've had release fish.
It's Arkansas is tough for the most part everywhere around here, and it's release fish plays a part, a lot of time.
Absolutely.
It's not as tough as Ohio River, but it is pretty tough.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more question. How do you mentally prepare for a tournament or a long day on the water?
A little bit physically prepare for that too. Like if it's going to be hot, man, start drinking 24 hours in advance for it. Drink you plenty of water, because drinking the day of doesn't help that much, and that helps you make better decisions. If you get dehydrated, you may not even know you're dehydrated, but maybe a little headache or something. You just don't make those decisions as good. I'm not a fan of eating when it's hot, but even if you open a pack of crackers and eat cheese and crackers, something to just keep your brain thinking, and being ready and being as sharp as you can be. Other than that, just be prepared and be confident in what you're going to do. I mean, I don't know how much ahead of time you can do mentally, other than, we're all going to lay down at night and then think of all the stuff we're going to do the next day till we fall asleep. But, till you're doing it, there's not a lot you can do other than be confident when you start doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Or lay your plan out the night before, and then you go and none of your plan works.
That's normal.
Regroup.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a good thing, man. Just start fresh.
Yep.
Yeah. Good friend of mine I used to travel with. He was real good on the St. Lawrence River, and wake up in the morning, he'd look out, he'd go like this. Yep, I'm going to win the tournament. Just by the way the wind was blowing.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, he called the tournament director. I think we blasted off at like 6:30. He called the tournament director like 8:30. Says, "Hey, can I weigh in? My live wells aren't working right." He had 22 pounds.
Wow.
And so they let him come. They let him weigh in, and he just took his co-angler out there and fished for the rest of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
good problem.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And that was before the gobies were in the river too.
Oh, wow.
That was back in like 2014, 2015. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, wasn't that where Tim Horton had that big lead and he pulled in the dock and like ordered a pizza and was eating pizza on the boat on the dock?
That was
Champlain.
Oh, okay, I remember. Yeah, that was the craziest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, he was running. I think I've never been to Champlain, but I think he's running to Ticonderoga, and he'd get down there and make like 10 throws, and he'd turn and run the hour back to wherever the ramp was.
Plattsburgh, yeah.
Eating pizza.
It's funny now. People run from Ticonderoga to Plattsburgh to catch fish.
Really?
Oh, hey.
Yeah, because of smallmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bucket list lake for me. I want to go sometime. I've never got to go.
Hey, you're not going to be too far away from it.
I know. We're going to hang around. My family's going to go. We're going to hang around a day or two. Dad and I are going to fish after it's over, but we probably won't go there. We'll probably just stay on the river somewhere.
All right.
Good.
Excuse me, a couple more comments before we sign off here.
Yep. All right.
Ed Cohen says, great advice.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah. And Ashley wants to know, how do you feel about herring lakes?
I still don't know how I feel about herring lakes. They were new to me, I guess, in 21, first year of the NPFL. I think we went to Hartwell, but it was a full-fledged spawn tournament for the most part. So I probably didn't get a taste of herring really till 22, I think, or 23. I don't know, but man, they're different. Those fish just roam so much.
Yeah.
But I feel like they bite really good. It's just hard to get around them sometimes.
Yeah, they're different.
Herring are weird little creatures. That's that's not all I know about them. They're different.
Have you ever tried one?
Do what?
Have you ever tried a smoked herring?
No.
Nope.
No, I hadn't even thought about it. Matter of fact.
Nope. Nope.
I don't either. But I have some friends over in Denmark and that do that. I'm like, ugh. No.
Man, the ones I've seen, I'd be hungry. It'd take a lot of herring. The ones I've seen are pretty small.
Well, you make a fish sandwich.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost like a sardine. Ed Cohen says, hit Oneida or Cayuga on the way back. You'll be fishing one of those in the future.
Good point.
That may be what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if the river can get to us.
Yeah. I can help you out on those if you need to.
Okay.
I'm 15 minutes away from Cayuga Lake and 45 minutes away from Oneida.
Not bad.
Really?
Yeah. That's terrible.
I feel you.
And I'm an hour away from Lake Ontario, so
ooh,
it's tough fishing living where I am.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, I guess.
Yeah, but right now the only way you're getting out in the boat is if you have an icebreaker in front of you.
True.
But no, we appreciate you coming on. It's always fun talking to you and learning from you.
Hey, thank y'all so much.
Yeah. So what's your favorite homemade cookie? I can't remember.
Homemade cookie, chocolate chip. Oh, I don't know. Since I've been on here, my wife made homemade lemon cookies. They were bomb. That might be better.
Oh.
No.
I like lemon. I really like chocolate chip cookies, but she made some lemon sugar cookies that were really good.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, my wife made those for me once. And it didn't go very well. They didn't. I think.
Oh,
Ed says he feels bad for me.
I know,
Ed. Come on up, Ed. I got an empty room.
There you go.
Wait until the water's a little softer. But
yeah, a little.
All right. We appreciate you for coming on, and I want to give you time to talk about your sponsors, people who have helped you along the way, and because it's important for everybody. So go right ahead. The floor is yours, boss man.
Hey, well, I want to thank definitely Diaz Scrap Metal. He'll probably never see this, but he's been my title. This is year 3, and I've made it real clear. Without him, I will be at the level I'm at. I mean, he's been behind me and made sure we're where we need to be. But man, so much in the fishing industry. Rosalo Custom Lures, they've been behind me for years. I actually started this year with arc rods and reels. I was already throwing all their baits, got arc going now. Really excited. I've got Bass Cat for the first time in a long time. I used to run Bass Cats, and I went away for about 4 years, and I'm back. And I've got a brand new ear. As a matter of fact, I was trying to get it home when I was almost late to this thing. So it's sitting in my driveway right now. Man, Mercury Marine, Pro Guide batteries. There's so many that couldn't do it without them, and they know that for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely. And all right, folks at home, follow him on the NPFL. We look for big things from you this year, man. We'll be definitely following you.
Well, I appreciate it. It's going to be a different year. A lot of my heroes coming to fish with us, too. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Teach them how to fish.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. What it'll be.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, you take care, and God bless, and stay safe.
Hey, thank y'all so much.
All right. Thank you, Hunter. Have a good day, sir.
All right. You too. See you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right.
Wow, yeah, great guy, man. That was a lot of good info there for sure.
Where am I going here?
I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, Ed says great show, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
I'm serious. Shoot me a message. You're more than welcome to stay at my place. We got a spare bedroom, microwave, refrigerator, bathroom. You know, you're always welcome. But tomorrow night, our plans are going to change. The person we had scheduled is having surgery, so they won't be able to be on. Brian Post, you know, so we're going to figure something out for tomorrow, and it may be Rob and John redneck in it. Who knows?
Like we've never done that before.
Right. It's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah, but thoughts and prayers for Brian, man. I hope your procedure goes well, and we're praying for you, brother. Hope everything goes well.
Yes, and we will reschedule that.
Yep.
So, anything else you got, Rob?
No, just great show as always. Hunter always brings it, and said make sure to follow him on the MPFL. They're about to kick off, and he's always a lot of fun to talk to, and always shares the juice. I mean, he's a great guy, straightforward. So really enjoyed having him on, and I said make sure to give him a like and a follow on his media channels, and we appreciate you guys liking, sharing, and subscribing. So we love you all.
All right.